Okay, so I am gonna meet you guys. Hi, Jules, and start with some announcements. Give me just 1 second.
No.
Hi, Michelle. Hi, you guys. Okay, thank you so much for popping on. If you guys have a teammate or someone that you would love to get on the call, please just send them a quick little note and say, hey, like, I care about you. Our team call is happening right now. I would love for you to pop on and learn a little bit more, especially for those of you in the Dash to Director group. Like, I should not have less people on this call than the other one, so hold your people accountable. And I want to do just a little bit of announcements and then some recognition, and we're going to get into tonight's team call. So we are just started the 3rd month of the executive leadership bonus. So if you guys don't know what that is, and if you can turn on your videos, I'd love to see you, but I know it's dinner time. Since the NYKO, when they got rid of the 2-star and above pools, every month that you're paid as executive, and you have to be like all weeks in a row for the month paid as executive, you get a $750 bonus. The 2nd month is $750 bonus, and the 3rd month is $1,000. So it's $2,500 a quarter that's eligible. At the end of the year, it's a total of $10,000. Like, that's amazing, okay? And this is the 3rd month. So there are some of you who are working towards getting to executive, but I just want to tell you guys, like, that's a lot of money, right? And new people are eligible for this. Like, it doesn't have to be like only the top earners on this team or whatnot, right? Like, or the top earners in the company. Like, anybody can go for that. And I just really, really want to remind you guys of that's huge, okay? The zinc spray is still out. They haven't let us know when it's going to be there, but the other major announcement I have for you guys is ISA Academy. It's May 2nd, okay? It's going to be 4-hour live training. I'm fortunate to be one of the trainers, so I saw the agenda. I know all the other trainers, but you're learning from Cindy Walter and Zach Slobin and Lindsay Winia and Jessica Rigner and oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. Kathy is going to be on there. David Wood is going to be on there. Like, you guys need to block off on Saturday from 10 to 2, okay? And May 2nd for ISA Academy, and you need to plug your people into it. So I know that it's not going to be live. I know that it's going to be a challenge. For some of us, it's going to sit there, you know, and we can't do watch parties, but it's going to be amazing. They have built in a break, so you can go get something to eat and go to the restroom or whatever. But I want you guys to just block that off and just commit to it, because it's going to be amazing training. And they are kind of using this as a demo for what it's going to be like for Celebration. So they need a lot of feedback from people since Celebration is going to be virtual. So I really hope that you guys can get on that. I want to recognize some people who have been so consistent in action and are absolutely enrolling and rank advancing their team. So Rachel had enrollments last week. Jenny had enrollment last week. Barbara had an enrollment. Kari has enrollments. Alicia has been talking to more people than I think she has ever talked to. I'm so proud of her. Kisa had an enrollment. Laura had enrollment. And you guys, she has her video off, and I'm a little bit mad at her right now because I don't care that you're tired, because I'm going to brag about her. But Kathy Rowland just had her biggest freaking paycheck, $723, because she earned over 200 shares in the manager pools. So not only is she a manager and she's like an enrollment away from Crystal Director, she had 2 cycles, you guys. That's a big ass paycheck. Congratulations. I am so proud of you. So proud of you. You're working so hard. So that being said, you guys, let's get into the nitty gritty of our call. And I just want to chat with you guys a little bit about follow-up and a little bit about consistency. So if you guys can like engage with me here a little bit, because I don't want to just talk at you. This is a topic that like, I think it's really important that we kind of work on together. Who feels like they're really good at initially connecting with people, but is like way in their head about the follow-up? Like, if you tell me in the chat, like if you're someone's like, yeah, I'm good at the follow-up, I know it takes a long time, or if it's like, oh my gosh, I hate the follow-up because they all think I'm selling to them, I'm bugging them. Like, be honest of like where you are. Like, do you have a problem with it? Are you good at it? Do you feel like it's awkward? Ashley says I suck at the follow-up. Marla says the follow-up is hard. Like, I think a lot of us kind of struggle with this. So Danielle says she's good, but added the verbiage. Kari. Okay, so Kari's like really great at making friends, but really not so great at bringing up Isagenix. So that's awesome. Kisa says she's good at it, but she gets crickets a lot. Alicia is more on the first contact. So this is good, you guys. I want you to see this, partially because I want you to see that you're like not on Gilligan's Island. Like we are all in this together, okay? So Amber's owning that she's probably verbal vomiting, that she's telling them way too much in the beginning, that then they don't want to follow up with her. Like, it's okay. It's okay. We have all been there, right? I still send some messages sometimes that I'm like, oh boy, like I love that now there's that remove message feature. You can't do that in text messaging, right? Like we're all in there, but we all get the stories in our head. So partly I want to go through some statistics with you. I just want to break down like some logistical stuff to help you like not feel so weird about this, and then give you some tips and ideas, okay? So like 85% or more people will say no in the first 3 to 4 touches. This is like all sales, but Isagenix, right? So 85%, that's more than 3/4, 4/5 of people, whatever that is, will tell you no in the 3 to 4 touches, unless they reach out to you, right? They see like Chris is transformation, he's lost 65 pounds, and they're like, hey, what did he do? I want it. If they reach out to you, this is different. But when you reach out to someone, right? And I'm like, Jenny, you're amazing. I think you'd be good at this, right? When you start it, especially in the cold market, 85% of people are going to say no for the first 3 to 4 times. So that means you have to touch base with them 4 or 5 times in order to get the yes. Okay. But here's the second piece of this that I want you guys to hear. Thank you, Rachel, for typing the notes in there. 85% of people are going to quit before the 3rd follow-up. So if I'm telling you right now, if you reach out to everybody at least 3 or 4 times, right? Some people will tell you it's like 6 or 7, but at least 3 or 4, you all have to say, okay, I'm going to reach out to someone 3 or 4 times before they tell me like I'm not interested or whatever. But most people, 85, are quitting before the 3rd follow-up. So that means something like this has happened, right? I reach out to Erica and I'm like, hey girl, it's so fun seeing you at Orange Theory. You're so upbeat. You have a ton of energy. I think you'd be great at what I do. I'd love to chat with you. And Erica's like, oh, cool, sweet. Like, what is it? And I said, let's set up a Zoom. Let's chat, right? And we set this appointment. And Erica blows me off, right? And I'm like on the Zoom and I'm like, right? I'm like by myself. She like never comes. How easy is it? Like, be honest with me here. Keep chatting. Do you feel like you're like, oh gosh, something must have come up because Erica would never stand me up? Or are you like, oh my gosh, she thinks I'm a salesperson. She hates me. She's annoying. She rejected me. I don't ever want to talk to her again. I'm like a worthless person because she didn't come to the Zoom, right? So I'm like option A, like something must have come up, right? Or option B, like I'm so insecure and she hates me, right? Like, and this, I mean, this is true, right? Because like we all go through this. So if you're courageous enough to circle back to her and be like, Erica, is someone like you to like not show up for something? Like I hung out on the computer for like 30 minutes. Like what happened? Is everything okay? And she's like, oh my gosh, my kid had a meltdown. Like I spilled pasta sauce everywhere. Like my husband was trying to do bath and I was trying to clean up dinner. I totally forgot about it. Like, do you have any idea how actually realistic that is? But Isagenix is not important to people yet. They don't even know about it yet. So how in the heck is it important to them? Like, I remember someone saying like this hierarchy of like, it should be like your family, your faith, your friends, your fitness, and then like Isagenix. And we sometimes are like Isagenix. But like people that don't even know what it is yet, like they haven't drank the Kool-Aid, they're not making money, they haven't had Ionix, they don't give a shit about this yet. They just don't. And so it's not important to them, and they blow us off all the time because they don't know what it is yet. And we take these things personally and we give ourselves a story, but like you have to break it down and be realistic, okay? So then I go back to Erica and she tells me this whole thing. Like, oh my gosh, that sounds so stressful. We should definitely chat because I have something that's amazing for stress. She's like, oh, what is it? And I'm like, can we chat? Yeah, okay. So then we're about to Zoom, and a few minutes before, she's like, gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm doing homework. My boss has this deadline. Like, sorry, it's not going to work tonight. Now, the majority of people are like, she definitely wants nothing to do with me. This is where the majority of people would stop, okay? But you have to remember it's 3 to 4 or more touches. So here's partially what's happening is you being persistent in the pursuit to help her. You said you had something to help her. Why are you quitting? If you really believe you can help her, why are you quitting? Why are you stopping? It's not about you, right? It's about what you're going to do for somebody else. The second thing about this is we just don't know what's happening, right? And we create all these assumptions. So then to like touch base and be like, hey, I get that it's a busy time. Like, I know how overwhelmed you are, but I would really love to chat with you. I really think that this would be something amazing for you, right? And she's like, thank you for being patient with me. Thank you so much for understanding that like things are crazy right now. I would love to chat with you. But you guys have got to let go of those stories and really be able to stay focused on this idea of reaching out with people, okay? So I want to, I'm trying to read the chat here in a little bit. So I'm going to address this pushy thing that I just saw come up, and then I'm going to go back to the crickets thing, okay? So there's different ways to address the crickets as to why. So this idea of being pushy, right? If you are doing it for you, your only motivation is to double your PIBs, to hit a 5-cycle bonus, to earn an ISA rally speaker, right? If your only drive is for you, they will absolutely think you're pushy, and they will feel that because it's totally self-motivated. Yes, we are all self-motivated. This is your business, right? This is why on a Monday night, you're on this call and you're investing in the best version of you, okay? So of course you're self-motivated. That's why you decide to get up at 5 in the morning before your job and message people, or you decide to not watch Netflix and do a power post because this is your business, right? Of course, and own that. But if you also are coming from a place of service, you're coming from a place of partnership, of inspiration, of possibility, you cannot be pushy. Like, I don't believe that those two emotions can exist at the same time. There's a difference in being confident than pushy. There's a difference in being assertive, of having a good posture, right? Here's what I think pushy is. And this is where this comes from, because we've all had this happen to us. This is like snaky, slimy MLM stuff from decades ago, right? Here's where it goes. Okay, well, we have this sale that you have to get in, because if you don't do it, it's going to be twice as much next week. So you have to buy it by tonight, because this is the only time it's ever going to be this cheap, right? Like those types of things. We're not doing that, right? I'm not like giving a 30-day half off because they buy it this week. You know, we're not doing that. Here's another one of like, oh my gosh, you need to buy it right now because I'm going to enroll this person that owns a gym and they're going to enroll 200 people below you. So you have to get in right now. You have to close this deal because otherwise you're going to miss out and they're all going to be your upline instead of your downline. That's pushy and it's disingenuous, right? Like no one wants to be sold that way. When you're like, oh my gosh, okay, well, I'm really busy this week and this is the only time I can talk to you and I'm going for a bonus and this is helping me and I need you to buy tonight. Like those are the things that are going to turn people off because you're treating people like a number. No one wants to be felt that way. But when you come from a place of heart, so if I go back to my situation with Erica, right? And I'm like, hey girl, I know you're so busy right now. I can only imagine what it's like to be in quarantine with 2 little kids and be working from home, you know, and not have a break from your husband. Like, I feel you. I know what that feels like, right? Like you're relating to her and say, but I really want to chat with you. I really think that this is something that you're going to love. I have seen so many moms just like you really thrive. I just need a few minutes of your time, right? Like coming from this place of encouragement, of relating, of being empathetic, with being compassionate, but also still like, why? Like, why do you want them to do this? So I'll tell you guys, one of the people that I'm really trying to connect with right now who's in a total state of overwhelm was my boss at a gym, okay, currently. And she was let go. She's worked for the company for damn near 20 years. She cannot figure out what to do right now. Like she's so overwhelmed. And I was like, I really want to chat with you. And she's like, I can't even think straight right now. Like, I get it, but like not now, you know? And I sent her a card in the meantime. Like, I'm thinking about you. Like, I hope you're okay, sending you some inspiration during a really difficult time. Sincerely. I know her, right? Like, I know her. Like, when my dad passed, she messaged me right away and said, don't even worry about putting your classes on sub and swap. We'll figure it out. Be with your family. Like, I have a relationship with her. I've worked with her for many years, okay? And so the card was genuine. I mean, I sent her something sincerely. It's a tough time when you get laid off from a big corporation like that, right? Then we messaged a little bit, just kind of touching base. This is the important part, is build the relationship outside of Isagenix. So I asked her, are you doing any of the on-demand classes? She told me no. She told me why. And I said, I still think physical fitness is going to be good for you. Maybe you want to look at Peloton. Maybe you want to look at something that's less of a sore thumb, but can probably help you. She's like, oh, I should. Thank you for that. So then the next touch was when I did that athlete call, if you guys saw, with JJ Burden and that volleyball player a couple weeks ago. And I said, hey, if you have any time tonight, I would love for you to listen to this. I know I've been trying to get a hold of you. You can be in your pajamas. You can have 3 glasses of wine in. It doesn't matter. I just want you to relate to other fitness people. I want you to hear these stories because I see what's possible for you, okay? She said, I don't feel like listening to a Zoom call tonight. Like, I'm telling you, she's in a down place, but I want this for her. Like, I'm not bringing her in so that she can bring 80 people into my business. Like, I know the transformation that's possible because I've experienced it, right? And she said, but if there's a recording, I'll listen to it. Okay, so now I have a little bit, right? A little bit. Said, I'll absolutely send you the recording. And she was inspired by it. But like Trudy was just saying on this other call that I did, it's like a dance. Just because they listen to a recording doesn't mean they enroll, right? It took me 6.5 years to decide to do Isagenix, right? Like, it takes people time. Sometimes out of nowhere, they're just ready. But so when you're coming from that place of I feel pushy, if you make it about you, right? And you're giving these like big discounts or hard closes, this is a relationship business and they're not going to trust you and they're not going to like you. And you might as well be a used car salesman giving a discounted car at the end of the lot at the end of the month, right? That's not who we are. So if you're getting crickets, I'm going to go back to that. I think it's super important to do one of 2 things. First of all, build a relationship outside of Isagenix if there's other things for them to talk to you about, okay? So like if I'm messaging Kim, you know, and I'm like, hey, I think you want to do this, and she, you know, doesn't say anything to me, because here's what's happening. We make it about us. Like, oh, she thinks I'm annoying. Oh, she's going to reject me. And I don't know Kim's story, right? I don't know that Kim's thinking, gosh, like I would love to do that, but I can't afford it and I don't want to disappoint her, right? I'm not saying that that's Kim's situation. I'm just using an example, right? Like I don't know what's happening, or she might be going, gosh, I would love to do that, but I suck at sales. I can never do what Lauren does. Like I'm so introverted. So it's easier to just ignore people than take ownership of that, right? And here we are worried about what they're thinking about us, but you have to remember where these people are, right? Like what's going on in their head. So how can I get Kim to trust me and know that I want the best for her? And this is not about me, but that I'm here to help her, right? So I get to know her. Hey, how was Easter? What did you guys make? Send her a picture of what I did. Look at these stupid Snapchat photos I made all day with my family. Did you know that you can turn yourself into a boy? This is what I look like as a boy. And she'll laugh. And she'll go, oh my gosh, well, how did you do that? And we talk for a little bit. Right? And I may not bring it up right then, but then a day or two and said, hey, I know I've tried to chat with you about Isagenix. It's okay if it's not for you, but I'd love to know why. I'd love to know, like, no matter what the answer is, there's no judgment, but I would love for you to feel like you can respond to me. You know, when sometimes when people reach out to you and they're like, hey, I saw your post, how do I get started? And they totally vanish. I will say things like, hey, were you serious when you reached out? Because I'm serious about coaching you, but I really only want to work with people that are committed. If it's not for you, no big deal, but you reached out to me, so I'm just curious why I can't get a hold of you right now. Like, you know, if I think about when I had my nutrition practice and someone like filled out an ad of like a consultation and they didn't show up, like I wouldn't be chasing this person, right? I wouldn't be like, oh, hey, I would really like to get that client that no-showed me on the free consultation in my business next, right? Like I was busy. And sometimes I think we forget that we don't need everybody with a pulse and a heartbeat, right? If those are the type of people that are not valuing your time, it's okay to be like, do I really want to build a business with these people? Like, do I really want to coach those people? And to honor your time, you know? Now, that being said, things happen. So Alicia and I had a call scheduled last Sunday, not Easter, the previous week, with a girl. We had an appointment time. And suddenly she started doing yard work with her husband. And, you know, Alicia was like so bummed that she blew us off. And I was like, hey, this girl had communicated exactly what was happening. She said, hey, I want to chat with you. I can't do it today. Are you available tomorrow? We have to let go that it's not on our time and Sunday when it's back office closing, because they don't know. They don't know that we're trying to double our pips. They don't know that we work on Sundays, right? Absolutely. Tomorrow works, right? You know, and the second time she actually tried to do it, I'm glad Alicia's on here. This is a very true story. She can tell you. And I finally said, I have a lot of appointments. I'm happy to reschedule. I just need to know we're going to keep it, because every time we move these around, it's keeping me from helping somebody else. She got on the call. She respected it. And it's okay to really put some posture and honor your time, right? If people are reaching out to you. But I think with that follow-up, I think the biggest things I want to leave you with this idea, outside of just knowing the numbers, is to get out of your way of the stories you're telling yourself and really just still focus on what you can do for them, okay? Like, it's so easy. And even if you have to talk through it with somebody, that they can help, like, pull your big girl pants up and give you the courage to kind of go back to it. But the other is to build this relationship. So if, like, my conversation is like, hey, Amber, like, I thought about you. I really think you would be into this. And she doesn't say anything. And I'm like, oh, hey, we have a seasonal birthday cake out. And she doesn't say anything. And I'm like, oh, we're going to do this May spring cleanse. And she doesn't say anything. And I'm like, oh, hey, I'm giving free shipping this weekend. And she doesn't say anything. Like, ugh, right? Like, I would block that person. And she should block me if I was doing that. But if I had reached out and said, hey, I thought about you, like, I really think you would be a part of this, and she doesn't say anything to me, then I start to have other conversations like, hey, like, how are you doing through the social quarantine? Like, what are you doing for date nights with your boyfriend? Because I've never been around someone so much in my life, and I can only separate in so many rooms in my house. Like, how are you dealing with this, right? And then she's going to feel like, oh, she can add value to me, and she's going to tell me some things. And then I might say something like, hey, we're going to do a virtual happy hour on Saturday. You should hop on. It would be great to meet your boyfriend online, right? And we build a relationship. So then I can say, hey, I don't know if you saw, we're about to do this group challenge, but I know you've been in health and wellness. Like, I think it'd be a great thing to do together. But if you realize from, like, my first touch to this other one, we're talking about other things. We're building camaraderie. So if you guys ever listen to the past calls when I talk about follow-up, I use this analogy of dating. You know, and I'm speaking just on the female side here, when a guy has one thing in mind. When you, like, go out for drinks or something, you're like, oh my gosh, this guy just wants to get in my pants, right? And it doesn't work very often for them. Like, every girl can feel it, and it's gross. But when they take the time to court you and get to know you and build a relationship and establish trust, certain things lead to the next events in an adult relationship, right? Our business is a very similar way. If you go in like, oh my gosh, I friended Kisa today on Instagram and I'm enrolling her with a business builder pack and she's coming in as crystal director by June, right? If you go in, it's like, I mean, I want you guys to be audacious with your goals and, like, have a total hope and possibility that you never know the next Emily Vavra that's getting enrolled. But realistically, if I became friends with Kisa on Instagram today and we never knew each other, this is going to be a process to get to know her, to get to know the things she likes, for her to get to know me, trust me, see my consistency to a point that then you bring it up, why you thought she would be good at this, and to bring her into the team that she trusts you, okay? So I'm going to kind of close with one little piece that is so important with the follow-up. And then if you guys have questions for me, if you're not consistent, these people are not going to join you because they feel like you are only following up when it benefits you. So Laura is talking to so many people, right? There are so many people in her pipeline all the time. If you guys ever have the chance to work with Laura, she never sits down and is like, I don't know anybody to talk to today. I mean, she has a notebook of constant names of people that she met and at networking groups and online. Like, she can't keep up with that, okay? So as she's enrolling people or talking to people and things happen, like she thought a couple was gonna get enrolled, right? Well, suddenly they needed 4 new tires. Okay, it's not gonna happen. So she gets to know them, she invites them to a barbecue, they go to a networking event, she checks in on them, she circles back to them, right? She circles back to them. But in the meantime of them saying no, they're watching and they see her celebrate her transformations of her team. She is using the products. She's talking about personal development and things that are inspiring her. So when she goes back and it says, hey, Amber, I know, like, you and your honey had to get 4 new tires, but I can't stop thinking about you. I know how good you're going to feel when these products get in your body. Is now a better time to get going? Amber's going, man, she really must care about me because she's helped a lot of other people in the last month since I wasn't able to do it. Like, man, she posted about Alicia's transformation and Chris's transformation and Kat's transformation and Jules' transformation, and she uses those shakes every day. There's validity there because there's congruency. But if you start to follow up with someone, and the last time you followed up with them was last time you posted, and there's been 4 weeks in between, and they're like, I didn't even know you were still doing it anymore. Like, there's a lack of congruency that they don't trust you. They're like, why does she want me to do this right now? Like, I didn't even think he was doing it anymore, right? Like, that stuff is so important. And you'll find it that the people that are consistently enrolling and consistently following up, because they trust us. We're not going anywhere. People want to see you fail. They want to see you quit. They're waiting to be like, haha, I told you it wasn't going to work. Told you you're in one of those things. Like, it's sad that people are that cynical, but they really do. Very few people are genuinely cheering you on. Okay. So for you to be able to prove them wrong time and time again, like, that's the grit. That's the hard work. That's the monotony behind this business that will lead to a 6-figure income. But most people tell themselves like, oh, everybody's sick of watching me post. Everybody thinks I say the same thing every single day. Nobody cares about what I'm saying, right? And we shut down instead of saying, who can I serve today? What type of post can I write that will bless somebody today? What type of post can I write that adds value to someone else today? What type of post will make someone's day better, right? Like, when you post from that place, you're never going to run out of content. It's not about you. And all of us are messengers of hope. Every single one of us is delivering greatness to people out there. Does that make sense? So if you guys have questions, feel free to unmute and ask me questions. But I cannot encourage you guys enough how important the follow-up is. Like, it's so important. And I also want to just remind people, like, sometimes it's nice to just pick up the phone. Like, we rely so much on text and so much on Facebook Messenger, and there's a lot of people it works great and they're busy, you know. Like, this happened earlier on in the week. There was a girl that I was circling back to, and I was like, hey, like, I know we've been talking about this and you're interested. And she was like, hey, I'm on a road trip. Like, I'm going to Arizona for Easter. She's like, can you just text me like the enrollment? Can I just send you everything? I was like, sure, you know, and I was like, are you sure? And like, I text her back that like, here's the different 30 days. She's like, I want the value pack. I sent her the flavor. Like, it was all over Messenger. So that's nice when that happens. I was like, okay, sweet. Like, that took us 5 minutes. That's rare. You know, sometimes when people are giving me crickets, like, I'll call them. It's like, Barbara, how's it going? What are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know if you're not seeing my messages, but like, it's unlike you to not respond. I just want to make sure you're okay. She's like, oh, I'm good. Like, we're down in Mexico. I was like on the walk with my husband, and, you know, and I didn't even have my phone on me. And I'm like, oh, cool. Awesome. As long as you're healthy and you're well, I just want to make sure. And they're like, yeah, what were you calling for? Well, hey, remember a while ago when we talked about this thing? Like, sometimes they just need to hear your voice. Like, don't forget the power of actually just calling someone, you know, like, you will see because of your effort and your hard work that people trust you. And that they don't think that you're going to flake out on them, right? Like, if you are doing the bare minimum, they're going to do the bare minimum. So they're going to match your energy with what you put out there. So does anybody have any questions? I don't want this to be a lengthy call. I kind of just felt like we could be direct tonight. But if you guys have questions, I am happy to stay on. Thanks, Amber. I appreciate your comment. Okay, you guys are awesome. Happy Easter. Happy Easter Monday. I never even knew that was a thing until my assistant was like, are you going to have your call on Easter Monday? And I said, Easter's on Sunday. She's like, well, there's Easter Monday too. And I'm always like, what happens on Easter Monday? She's like, oh, it's a really big deal here. And I was like, we kind of do Good Friday. We definitely do Easter. I was like, yeah, Monday, we're just bloated on Cadbury eggs. Like, life goes on. I was like, what? It's a holiday? I had no idea. Literally had no idea. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being on. I'll get the recording up as soon as I can. Good night.